All right,
Well,
Bobby's
okay.
on time hosting a show
Good
right
for
now.
Bobby.
And people are talking over my introduction of the shows. That's great, but let's just kick it off. Go ahead, Frank.
Thank you, Pat. Welcome to the Pat Oates POS show, co-hosted by Bobby Tamburo and Pat Oates. Tonight's special guests from the Creepy Corner podcast, Anthony Zenhauser, and from the Bobby Biggercast, comedian Bobby Biggerstaff. Take it away, Pat.
Frank, did you have a stroke during that?
I might have.
You got hurt real quick.
Should have gone over that copy beforehand.
Yeah, well, he
The
does.
sad part, I did
2 hours
10
he goes
times.
over it.
I thought we agreed you were going to introduce him as Stavros, Bob Biggerstaff and Stavros, Frank.
Yeah,
Then
you're
they
gonna
said
do
no.
Stavros.
I thought we were going to do Ralphie May,
Yeah.
Bobby Kelly. But what happened, Frank?
I'm
You're the piece
thinking
of
of
shit
both
already.
of them. I mean, I'm the one that should get the fat jokes and the fat introduction. I'm 5'8" at 250 pounds. Anybody could
Yeah,
top
oh,
that
quit-
there?
Quit
Who
bragging.
could top that?
Yeah, those guys are way
Guilty.
those guys are way fatter than I fucking ever was.
Yeah.
I'm 6'1", 210 now.
Oh, no,
Oh my
Bob. We were
God.
making fun of Anthony, not you, buddy. Congratulations.
Oh,
on
okay.
all
Oh
the
shit,
wins.
sorry.
No, yeah, you're good to go.
But Bobby, you're like 4'8" and 250, right? So.
I know where in Connecticut you live, Pat. But keep making those jokes, buddy.
Oh,
Gino
come
and
on
I'll come
over.
pay
Oh,
you a
do you
little
want to fight me? That's fine. Oh, I'll fight. Oh, bring your gay boyfriend.
Be badass.
I'll fight him too.
Regulators or something.
Hi, Anthony.
Hi,
There he
Bobby Tamburo's become real snarky since he got his D comic career going.
Yeah. Since
We-
he became the
What
mascot
fucking what
for a
pizzeria are
third-rate
you
show.
opening for Gino at right now? You piece of shit.
It's pretty
Thanks
cool when
for
you get to
calling
me
drive
level
Aaron
fucking
Burr's stunt
nothing.
double around. That's fun. It's always nice, but it's cool. No,
Is
I'm
this
just
part of the
happy
who's
Bobby
a
Eats.
piece of shit part? Gino.
yeah, Gino's
Oh,
big
wait a
shit.
minute.
We all
Did
agree.
am I jumping ahead? Sorry.
No, you're perfect timing, sir. Wonderful.
What do you have to? So Bobby, what do you have to do to open for Gino? Do you have to burp his nostrils?
You just have to be ready to fight after the show. Whenever anybody's mad, you just have to be able to fight your way out. To the car.
Whenever Gino says the N word, you got to jump in.
No, you have to get a
Yeah,
boner.
exactly.
That's what you have to do. Every
Either
time says
one,
the
yeah.
N-word, your balls have to fucking drop a little and your dick rises. And that helps Bobby a lot. Bobby, let's make that clear. Bobby just threatened to fight me on this show. And I like that.
No, I was
Bobby,
going
I
to
know
make
where you
aggressive
work.
of you, Pat.
Actually, he just said he knew where you lived, so that could mean he might.
He
just
said, I
want
know where
toilet
you
paper
live.
Your
and
house or
let's
something.
just remember that. That's Bobby's getting a little cocky because I called him short. I forgot you're 7'1". My bad.
That's my trigger.
Is it? Good. Come on over and show me your trick.
Easy, I said trigger.
You said trigger, right?
For the people watching right now, if the noise gets crazy, Bobby is big time now, and he's at a show, and he's trying to pretend like he still likes the little people, and so he's performing at a show while doing this show because he's such a busy man with all his career. But as I just sit here hanging out with my hot sauce, I've got just
Hey, there you go.
Of course, Silk City, sponsors this, and you're on there, and I never got it that it was BBC till I saw you post something today, and now it made it even better. I did never put the
Oh,
black
yeah.
cock thing in. I was like, that's very cool.
You got wait, what?
Black cock.
What do you
Oh,
What do you mean? You mean
He had no idea. He thought it was the English channel.
I mean that's even my podcast, BBC, the Bobby Biggercast.
Yeah, and that's the tie-in. You have that show.
So I'm like,
Anthony
if
now
you
has a
like
show about
if you
English
like
country.
BBC, come to me if you like BBC. That's what I tell people. I mean,
Come
you're gonna
on
love
me.
BBC in your mouth.
Yes.
I tried to buy that website, but it's there's some other shit on there.
You know what website is available? I found out yesterday. Justterrible.com. And I'm thinking about getting it because I think that for any comic, that'd be the greatest website. Just terrible.com. So, Bobby, are you going to be okay to do the show?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just making sure. You have responsibility. Do you have to bring up Gino yet?
Not yet. You'll just see me randomly disappear.
No, I think you should. We should go with you.
Okay, I'll put you in my pocket.
This is the new Bobby Biggs Chipotle with maple.
Oh, I heard they had maple. I
I
haven't
can't
had the
wait.
maple.
That sounds delicious.
But
Yeah,
Frank just got
I feel
some sauce
I
too.
feel honored.
honored that Silk City was I was the first. Fuck all those other guys. I was the first one to have a hot sauce and with them. So I feel honored. I was actually kind of pissed. I was kind of pissed when the other ones started showing up. I was like, I mean, I never said anything to the Silk City guy because I was like, man, I thought I was yelling. But I had a good run when it was just me.
Yeah, you did great. You know what's even worse? If you promote their sauce every week on 2 different podcasts and they don't even give you one at all. They don't put your name on anything. You just talk about them all the time. So Chad Zumach can steal people's identities and he gets a sauce, and Aaron
Pat, you
gets
have to give us any good
powerful
suggestions.
Jew and he gets a sauce, and that's fine. And then Kevin Dombrowski just looks kind of like taller Ehrenberg and he gets a sauce, but that's fine. I don't mind. I still love it. I got my free samples in and I've been using them all. I'm still
Well, there you go.
But
He gives you free samples.
Well, you got to give me something to talk about it.
And it's not like you've given him any good ideas or anything, Pat. Like every week you don't pitch a new sauce.
I could
or
tell you
something.
that's all I get
Every
too.
week. Every week we pitch a new sauce idea. We had other comics do it. We've given names. We've given everything. Frank had his homemade duck sauce. I have my POS sauce, which would be like a taco sauce. We've helped out a lot.
Ah, well,
Nothing.
I'll talk to the company.
You don't have to talk to the company. I talk to him all the time. He retweets everything. He posts everything. He's a wonderful guy. It's funny that all of us are like, why aren't our faces on sauces? He's like, I've got to sell something. What do you guys do? No one knows who any of you are. Why is it on this one
He
shelf?
created a monster when he started with me, I guess.
No, he went to you, and then he's just been chasing that heroin ever since. He couldn't get as good. He's looking for that hit again, and he can't.
He's a big Jeff's a big comedy fan.
He is, and a tremendous supporter. But believe me, every week you'll hear it later. Our commercials they're out there, but he's wonderful. But speaking of that, Frank, I'm gonna do something I don't normally do.
What?
Because you're dying or whatever. We're gonna do your story first, in case you die. Because before the show, people that didn't hear this, before Anthony got to kick in, Bob and Frank got to compare how wonderful their health is to each other. And it sounded like 2 versions of Wilford Brimley exchanging notes. It was just like, diabetes, diabetes, diabetes. It was fantastic, but I also could jump in. So, Frank.
Let it be known that I don't have diabetes anymore.
He beat it. He beat diabetes off with a stick.
You beat off
This
with a
is
stick.
perfect. If I have to
Frank-
run, I automatically know Frank's a piece of shit, so I don't have to worry about missing a step.
That's why I'm doing it. You guys know Frank will tell a story at the end. We will all chime in one at a time and decide who's the piece of shit. For those who've not seen the show before, I say this all the time. Frank and a buddy of his, Alan Abel, for years and years went around doing pranks and hoaxes and scams all over the country, fooling everyone. Nowadays, we always reveal it, and it's stupid. They did things to promote books and things like that. He fooled the feds. He fooled all kinds of people by never revealing what he did. This day, people died not knowing these pranks happened to them. And Frank usually shares some of those stories. I don't know what the fuck the cartoon thing is today, but that also has to do with it. So, Frank, take it away.
Yeah, I'm going back in the vault probably over 50 years ago. When I worked for a company called Smith Corona Marchant. They were known for portable typewriters, if anybody remembers what they were. And they also made copy machines. They were number 2 to Xerox in the industry. And I was fortunate enough to have a job with them where I handled national accounts. And my job was to keep the accounts happy. I had 4 accounts, and all I did was get them drunk and laid and go to ball games. That was my job. That was my job. The president of the company decides to have a regional meeting for 150 comics at my office, 90 Park Avenue. We had a big conference room to house a couple hundred people.
150 comics?
No, 150 salesmen.
Didn't he say comics?
No.
Yes, he did.
Okay. He'll do that.
Let's
Let him tell the story.
Sorry, I interrupt a lot.
That's okay. He's old.
So what happens is he calls me up. He had his secretary call me up and say, Frank, I'm disinviting you to the meeting because it's at 5 o'clock. And I know at 5 o'clock you'll be drunk, because I was drunk every day. I mean, everybody knew it, but we were very successful, and it was Mad Men. That's what we did in the day. So I go back to the office with a couple of other national account salesmen, and we're standing out there, and we're drunk. We're totally drunk. And one guy says to me, Frank, I'll bet you $100 you won't go into that conference room nude. Yeah, $100 in those days was a decent amount of money. So I
Go
said,
on.
I won't. How about if I just have shorts on? How about you just have shorts on? He said, okay, you got to bet. Okay, so I take off all my clothes, leave my boxer shorts on. At that time, I was 5'9.5", 302 pounds.
Oh,
So that's what I'm going in at. So I go to the door. I knock on it because I want all eyes on me. So I knock on the door. I open it up, but I take a step in, and there is the president with a pointer looking at an easel, looking at me, and he goes, and I see everybody just go, nobody says anything. And when it calms down, I said, excuse me, has anybody seen a brown suit? And they just totally break up. They totally break up. I walk out. He comes storming after me and he says, in my office at 299 Park, tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock. Okay. I go there 8 o'clock in the morning. His secretary says he stepped out, go into his office. They had this big lavish office, big oak deck. So what I do, I go under his desk and hang out there. There's enough room there. It's a little condo. And so he comes in and he doesn't see me because she said he's in there. And he gets on his telephone and says, where the hell is Mergallo? Well, he's in there. And he says, no, he isn't. She said, yes, he's in there. And then all of a sudden I grab his thigh and start stroking it.
What the fuck?
I listen. I was a little wacko. So I get out. He says, what the fuck's the matter with you? I should fire you. I said, you won't. You won't. I got GE like this. I get him laid. I get him blowed. I bring him out to dinner. You're not going to do anything. And guess what? He didn't do anything. So who's the piece of shit in this story?
You.
Is it me? Is it me taking advantage of a $100 bet? Is it the guy that put me up to it that risked $100 for me to go in there with my shorts on? Is it the president of the company who's a piece of shit because he let things like this happen under his watch? Who's the piece of shit, Bobby?
Bobby, go first so you can call a piece of shit. You can go do your thing.
It's Frank, you were an alcoholic to the point so bad they didn't want you to come to the party, and then to get back at them, you sexually harassed your boss. You're the piece of shit.
Yes, done.
Well, that's your opinion, Bobby. I respect that.
Anthony, who's the piece of shit in Frank's story? Or Anthony's gone and just staring hard. I thought he was really into the story.
He was freezing up.
I thought he was really focused.
Okay, Bob.
I would actually say it's your friend that offered you the $100 because that's something you could get fired for.
Right.
Were you drunk?
Yes. I was drunk every day.
But this was 50 years ago.
I think that's kind of it's not a dick move to say, hey, I'll give you $100 to do this. But then when you're actually going to do it, be like, then the guy should have been like, no, man, I'm just kidding. Cause if you're talking getting fired at it's not like you're talking about fired from a bartending job or something. You're talking a real job.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was.
Did you have a family or did you have a family or did they already leave you because you were drunk?
No, we broke up. I didn't have any kids. I had a wife that I lost probably a couple of months after that incident.
Did you go looking for her?
No.
She didn't die.
No, I have no idea.
Then why'd you say lost? You got the.
I lost her. I came home one night and the door. She changed the keys on the lock. I changed the lock. My door couldn't open. It was like 10:30 at night. I'm drunk. I didn't know what to do. I was in Greenwich. And so what I did, I took a train back and went to the plaza and stayed at the Oak Room until I passed out and checked into a room. And
Anthony, were you able to hear anything? Or is he back? I can't tell. That's all right.
There he is.
Anthony, were you able to hear any of that story? No, he was not. That's okay. Frank.
It's got good Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Frank, there's two pieces of shit in this story.
Okay.
Neither one are you. Because the reason why you're not is because you had established that you were this garbage person. They knew that going in. They all thought it was fun and lovable. They all probably thought it was funny other time when you were making them tons of money. So they can't just all of a sudden turn around like assholes and be like, no, that's not cool. And we want it to be cool. They knew what you were, but you still got the job done. Yeah, it was a little stupid what you did. Two of them. One of them is the secretary. Secretary for letting you in, knowing that you're a piece of shit. And also, it was 50 years ago. She knew where you were because that's where she spent most of her time. She was a secretary in the 50s, and underneath the desk is how she kept her job. She knew where the fuck you were. And he probably thought it was her when he felt the thigh touch. And that's why he was mad, not because of anything else, for the simple fact that he was like, oh, I'm going to get fucking Margallo. And he got pissed because he knows you won't blow him because you're too drunk and you don't have strong enough lungs to do any good damage. The second piece of shit is me, because I saw you on Thursday night and you kind of briefly told me the story and said, Pat, if I ever told this story on this show, I can't remember. I said no. And as you told it, I went, fuck yeah. In one of the first episodes before Bobby came to us and became part of the show, you have told this story before.
I told that story?
Yeah, but it was so long ago, it's okay. But I'm the piece of shit because I'm supposed to be your memory for you and you're an old fuck.
That's right.
Anthony, were you able to hear any of the story? You're muted.
Fucking technology bullshit.
That's okay. We're doing it. We're doing fine. Were you able to hear any of Frank's story?
Okay. I heard the boss was storming after him after he said he's looking for his brown suit. So I'm assuming you took your cock out at some point.
Close. I'll do a better version than Frank did. Frank's a drunk piece of shit years ago. He's a sales guy making tons of money. He's invited to this meeting. They decide last second he can't go to the meeting because he's a drunk piece of shit. He shows up anyway, just in his underwear, runs into the meeting like a dickhead during this huge meeting, and then he asks if anyone could find his brown suit. They tell him the next day to come to the office and talk to the boss. He gets there early. The secretary lets him in. He hides under the desk, waiting there. The guy comes in, can't find him. He sits down on the phone. Frank grabs his thigh and starts rubbing him and shit. And the guy's like, what the fuck? I should fire you. And Frank's like, you can't fire me. I'm the best sales guy you've ever had, you motherfucker. He pulled a Jerry Maguire type of thing and then just ran off and was fine. Frank did that first part because a buddy of him bet him $100 he wouldn't run in there in his boxers. Who's the piece of shit in that story?
The boss.
There you go. Why?
Because he's a loser. He's a boring guy. You would have a sense of humor. That's some funny shit. It's not like you took your ding dong out and was like slapping people in the face with it with your big fat cock, Frank. You were walking around in your boxer shorts just having a goof. It's 1925, 1930. I mean, everybody was cool back then. It was like the flappers were hanging out. It was before the Depression. I mean, I honestly feel like that the boss, I mean, there's no way that guy didn't die of a heart attack. There's no way.
Right.
He was too stressed out.
And I'll tell you, if I'm at a meeting where I'm kind of like stressed out, like Frank said, everybody's drinking back then. They're probably showing up hungover. They're not drunk. If I'm sitting there all beat up and a guy walks in his boxers and starts being a dick, I'm laughing. I feel better. I can relax a little bit.
Right.
Well, he said it. He said it killed.
Oh, it did. A lot of
yeah,
laughs,
but I perform with Frank a lot. Frank always thinks he killed. And so it's like,
all right, good
Frank,
point.
next time we're at comics, you got to do that. You got to come out in your boxers and just run around.
Yeah.
Start grabbing people's thighs. So
I am noticing a theme of nudity in a lot of your pranks, Frank.
yeah, if Frank's not trying to bang some lady, Frank's nude. Frank's always trying to show some skin.
If you look at all these podcasts that we did and all the stories I told, I didn't get laid in any of them. And I wasn't nude in any of them. Remember that.
You were trying to get laid and you were trying to get nude. It was all like there. It was all Me Too'd.
Well, obviously the picture in your background, Frank, that's supposed to be you in the story.
Yeah, where was that picture? I thought you were doing like a Bob's Big Boy thing or something. What is that?
Yeah, I just got it off the internet.
You just Googled fat guy in underwear.
I look like
Me
that from
in
the head
underwear.
down.
I want to know what you put. Chris Christie hot.
It looks like the dad on the Wonder Years.
Yeah. He does have that look. And he went to the same college I did. We both dropped out at the same time. Different years, but we both only went there for a year and a half. Way to go, Southern Connecticut State University. All right. Home inspector caught on camera performing sex act on an Elmo doll. Kevin Wayne Van Leuven, a home inspector in Clarkson, Michigan, has been charged criminally after he allegedly masturbated with an Elmo doll in a child's room while on the job. He was arraigned on Wednesday with aggravated indecent exposure and malicious destruction of property under $200, which are both misdemeanor charges. Where are we here? Van Leuven was hired by homeowners to inspect a home on March 12th. He entered the property with the buyer's real estate agent who left while he worked. The property owner had a device set up to alert him when there was movement in the nursery. It did so, and she saw Van Leuven masturbating. Van Leuven then retrieved an Elmo doll from the floor and appeared to begin to masturbate himself with the doll. The homeowner called 911. Police arrived while Van Leuven was doing his inspection. Van Leuven initially told officers he only moved the doll to complete his inspection, but when confronted with the camera, Van Leuven apologized. Just when I think I've seen it all, someone steps up and surprised me with a new level of disturbing actions, Sheriff Michael Bouchard told reporters. This is a disgusting reminder to be cautious about who you let into your home. These actions of homeowners will likely prevent this defendant from going into anyone else's home ever. Van Leuven is facing a sentence of up to 2 years in prison and $2,500 in fines. He was also ordered to go to a mental health evaluation and barred from being alone in any residence he does not own. Who's the piece of shit in this story? Is it our boy Van Leuven? Just looking for love in all the wrong places. Whatever. We've all jerked off in weird spots. I'm not saying it's right, but sometimes you just get fired up. I don't know. Is it the Elmo doll for being at the wrong place at the wrong time? I mean, that's a sexy doll. It's got a wide open mouth, big googly eyes. The guy doesn't look like he gets much. You know, he probably fucks crackheads. Elmo looks like a crackhead. Is it the police officer for acting like this is the worst thing he's ever seen? You're a police officer. You've seen murder. You've seen rape. A guy jerked off an Elmo doll. It's terrible, but it's kind of funny. It's basically what Frank did going into that office. It's silly and dumb, but you just fucking wave it off. Is it the fucking homeowner for like calling the cop? Yeah, throw him out, whatever. He didn't jerk off at your kid. Nobody was. Yeah, it's gross. It's wrong. You shouldn't do it. But to call the police, or is it the court system? He can get 2 years in jail. That guy can barely handle himself in a nursery. He's going to get raped to death. He can't be in there. There are things that look like Elmo. Frank, who's the piece of shit?
Has to be the homeowner. I mean, because when you look at everything, he did something that I commend him for. He apologized. He
Not
apologized
at first, though.
for what
He lied at first. and
What
said
are you
no.
gonna
He
do?
apologized once he got caught. Well, I grant you, he saw the evidence. He apologized. He did not hurt anybody when he was doing this malicious act. And he just,
Her elbow.
or whatever.
Yeah, is that the destruction of property?
Yes.
What destruction? There was
That
no
was it.
destruction.
That was the destruction of property.
It had to have been. He fucking fucked the shit out of that Elmo doll.
Have you ever seen an Elmo doll? Have you ever seen
Yeah,
one?
it doesn't come with holes. That one has holes in it now.
Now.
Well, I'm sure he replaced it. I'm sure.
Elm
I'm
hole.
sticking up for this guy. He's got
Frank, now
some.
you better watch out that I know where you live. I'm coming to visit tonight and just jerking off aggressively with all the things in your house.
What's different
Fuck
from
your
every other
toaster?
night?
I'm still sticking with it. He apologized after he got caught. He didn't do any physical damage to any part of the house. I mean, the owner should not have been there because he had a viable reason for being there. He was going to show the apartment or the house to somebody.
Well, the
I'm
owners
sticking
weren't
with that.
there.
Yeah, the owners weren't there, Frank.
Oh, how did they see it? By camera?
Where were you?
Nanogam. Did you
Yeah,
really
was
see
I?
it all?
Did you
I
just
was looking
defend
at
the
my
guy and have
shorts.
no clue what's going on? Can you be my lawyer?
I had one of those baby
Frank.
monitor cameras that you set up so when the baby moves, it turns on and they can see.
Oh, okay. Now I remember that part.
No,
Frank,
now-
can you tell us the time when you took off all your clothes in that office?
I was gonna say, Frank, about 10 minutes ago, I had to explain to Anthony what your story was because he couldn't be here. I shouldn't have to explain the story that you were just here for. Like you were just there, and you.
I have
did it.
I have to admit, Pat, I was taken back by looking at that cartoon and realized I don't have a dick.
All
I
right.
mean, I was
Well, there's some
concerned
camel
about
toe
that.
there. It's also not you, Anthony. Who is the piece of shit in this story?
Gotta be Elmo, bro. I'm gonna say it's the doll. Tickle Me Elmo it's in the name. He was asking for it. I mean that's the big
Yeah,
it's
but
kind of
not
like
cuckle me, Elmo. It shouldn't be that.
you can it's interpretive. Okay, some people tickle with their fingers. Some people tickle their nephews and nieces with other things.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy was just pretty much following orders. The cop was following orders. The homeowner. I mean, honestly, how long was that doll sitting there before he realized that the guy fucked it, and before his kid played with it? I mean, the kid could have played with it all day before he checked out the video. And so, secondly,
No, it was
I don't want to
live.
bring up old.
Yeah,
I
it
want to
was
bring
live.
up old stuff. Huh?
The
it
mom
was
saw
live.
a lot. Like
Yeah,
the
but
mom
She
got an
saw it.
alert.
She was watching. The monitor went off because it sensed motion. She checked the video, and there he was, just beating off with the doll.
yeah, but I mean, come on, guys. Honestly, if that was happening in your house, I don't think anybody wants anything masturbated on in their house. That guy was just protecting his home, you know. But I mean, but Elmo with his pretty little mouth and
Yeah.
his vibrating hands, and you know, I feel like that nobody in this room could even resist something like that, some sort of temptation like that.
It is. They call it the devil's pussy, Elmo. They do. They're saying it's always. It's so
I
tempting.
only jerk off with hot sauce bottles.
That's it. And so, with that being said, Bob, who's the piece of shit?
Well, I got to tell you, this whole incident is probably not going to help the resale value of that house.
Or that
I
Elmo?
I assume that's why the inspector was in there. This, you know what? And this is also something that years ago, even if the guy admitted to it, the cops show up and they're like, "Yeah, okay, whatever."
home.
Like the cop, but obviously because it's on video, the guy, the mom has to be obviously extremely irate of catching somebody jerking off in their kid's room.
I would imagine so.
I mean,
would think.
she's got to be going nuts to the police. So I mean, this guy's fucked.
I like that she's mad, but it's the wrong room. Like
It would, but
It is
the
wrong
best
room.
part, and I wonder if they got this on. Yeah, I mean, I don't think they got this on video, but it's like, yeah, well, we know you were jerking off in the room. No, I didn't do that. Well, we had a camera in there. Oh,
Oh shit.
well, I realize I haven't answered the question. I'm going to say I mean, call me a nerd or whatever, but I'm going to say the asshole's the home inspector, the guy jerking off, just because nobody wants, you don't want that. I mean, if I was the mom, I don't even know if I'd want, I mean, first of all, like if I was the dad in this situation, that guy wouldn't have fucking got out of my house. I mean, I was at work. I would have immediately gone home and beat the shit out of that guy.
That's what I was gonna say. There would be no cops involved. If on the camera, a guy was. If my wife calls me and says, "The guy is jerking off on the Elmo in the kid's room," and I'll be like, "Don't say shit." I would.
But then,
I would
and
go.
then
I'd
again,
turn cameras off, and I'd make sure that Elmo is inside that guy's asshole. There'd be no cops involved. I would have kicked his ass for jerking off in that room.
but you know what? I'm going to change my answer and say that. So the home inspector's in there with a real estate person. Was that right?
No,
That
the
would
real
make
estate
sense.
person brought them to the home and then took off because they knew they had work to do and said, "I'll let you in," but they didn't stay. So that person.
Okay. Well,
took
I mean,
off.
I guess the real estate person trusts or knew, but you don't let people go in your house like that. I mean, that's
But you don't think someone's gonna jerk off in there? I think that just most people aren't like you're gonna go in there like.
No, you don't. But I bet the guy wouldn't have done it if the real estate agent had stayed. I mean, I guess she's got
That's a good
stuff to
point.
do.
Wait a
But
minute, wait a minute. What was the guy doing in the house in the first place again?
He's an inspector. He was doing some repairs and things.
Yeah, that's his fucking job is to be in the house without anybody there. It's
Yeah.
fine. That's
But they said the real estate agent was there with them to bring them in, and they just took off. They were gonna have them
Yeah.
stay in there as well. They
I've
just
never
said, "You're
known. I've
fine."
never known a real estate agent has to stay in the house with an inspector there. That guy. I mean, usually these people don't fuck toys. Usually they come in and they go, "Oh, your roof needs some work." Blah blah blah.
well,
before
yeah,
you start.
obviously the inspector didn't. I mean, who knows how many other times he did this.
Listen,
Yeah, that it sounds like a serial thing, but still, I mean, that.
Oh, you
I
think he
stand by what I
jerked? You think he
said.
jerked off with cereal too?
yeah, I do. Elmo cereal. Anything with Elmo.
You think it was just Elmo? You think he was like, "Please God, please don't let there be an Elmo doll in here,
Do
please
you
God."
think there were other dolls there?
No, not again.
Oh, cruel fate! You've tempted me for the last time.
That
Damn
must
you,
suck being
Elmo.
the other doll that got turned down. Like, there's other dolls. There's not just one doll. There's other dolls that weren't fuckable enough. Like, they're just sitting like, I can't even get jerked off on. What kind of shit doll am I? This guy is like, nope, Elmo's the hot one. Because there's more than one toy in a kid's
Yeah,
room.
Kermit's just sitting there.
Hey-oh. He's like, oh, fuck, my bad. Like, what? I don't know why that was the toy. But even if you're gonna listen, I would never jerk off in a kid's room. But if anyone here has kids, there's I don't know if you need anything to jerk off into, but there's things to clean
Different
up
if
with.
it's your own house and your own kids.
Right.
room.
No, that doesn't even count. I mean, like, that's a whole different story, especially when you first have a kid. And I don't think anyone that's not a parent would understand this. But if you're in the house forever and the kids are always screaming, you're never getting any sleep, and the kid's asleep in the next room, and then no one is in the house for the first time, like in 2 years, like, you're going in a different room. Oh, you're closing the door. You've got the baby monitor, but you're beating up. But you're not using their toys. You're not using their shit. You've got your own cleanup. You got to be ready to go. This guy walked into a room, looked at the kids' room. There's the women's. You shouldn't be creepy in any way, but he's better off as a creep going into the woman's room and using her underwear or something weird. Or if he's gay, go into the guy's room and use his box. And Elmo, there's a sick fucking thing in your head to go, he was already jerking off. Then he saw the Elmo and said, oh, this will feel nicer. And then use that. Like, they don't have lotion. You use a doll's mouth. That's a creep and a half.
Are you saying that he was walking into the house with his hand in his dick, just starting jerking off?
No,
going,
but
okay,
reading this, he went into the house. Once he was left, he went into the child's room. This sounds like it's a fucking pedophile because he went into the child's room.
Yeah, right.
Started just jerking off, then saw the toy. So in the creep world, in the real version of this, that guy sensed the kid, went in there, was jerking off, and goes, "Yeah, that kid probably touches this," and that makes it even worse than not even.
It probably smelled like the kid or something. I don't know.
Maybe
I'm
this
just,
is
not that I've done
let's
that
give this guy
before,
the
but I'm
benefit
just
of the doubt.
spitballing.
Okay, Bobby, now that you're in there, yeah, I just heard you say benefit of the doubt. So go ahead. What was the piece of shit there,
He's putting like diaper rash ointment on his cock.
There are.
Desitin, it's like he's making a dick bagel with the creamy stuff.
Yeah, and he just comes in a diaper genie when he's done. It's like, oh, it's nice. Go
There
ahead,
are
Bobby.
two pieces of shit. The first is obviously the guy who jerked off with the Elmo. I mean, regardless of whatever the Elmo was wearing, she doesn't deserve that.
She was naked.
Oh, Jesus. But the second piece of shit is creepycorner.nyc because, they just wish they could get their hands on this videotape to play it on their show this week.
Oh, it's out there.
Usually we've done something like
out
that.
there.
I know, you did it all morning. That's why I was referencing it.
Oh, okay. Well, no, I showed one where a guy was sniffing kids' underwear. This guy went. He was an
don't show
exterminator.
things
He went
like that.
into this kid's room and he was sniffing the kids' underwear in the hamper.
Oh, no. Don't do that.
Nice.
No, not me.
Oh, so you covered this story already?
I did something like. Come on, Elmo. That's a softball, bro. I mean, we don't do that on the creepy corner. We try to go as creepy as we can. I mean, that's like a D-,
Right.
C+ creepy.
This isn't Creepy Corner. This is a different show.
You're right. It's not.
Well,
I'm just telling you.
I don't know what.
No, and I appreciate what goes on your show, but I'm saying
I appreciate yours. I would never go into your world and do your thing because you're better at it than me. And if you want to hear me and Anthony be the worst humans ever when your new podcast comes out when I'm on it, that we went to a level that might even been way past Creepy Corner.
Well, that's my piece of shit story.
Yeah. Okay, good. We'll share that one soon. So, Bobby, thank you for train wrecking it. I hope your set went poorly. All right, next. Consensual incest should be decriminalized, advocates say. Consensual incest advocates are rooting for an anonymous New York parent who wants to marry their own adult child. Australian Richard Morris, who is pushing to change incest laws in about 60 countries, said he supports the legal push in Manhattan federal courts and that such behavior between consenting adults should not be criminalized. He and other advocates have launched about 130 petitions, mostly on change.org, seeking to change incest laws around the world. Most have received little support. We haven't moved any mountains yet, he told the Post. That's a great quote. Morris was inspired to fight for those in consenting and sensual relationships, he said, after learning about a Scottish case in which a long separated father and daughter were reunited, started an affair, and were then criminally convicted. Fighting for true marriage equality is the right thing to do, isn't it? Morris said. It seems to be as unjust as the law that used to imprison gay people and the law that used to stop people of different races marrying, he added. Keith Pullman, who runs the blog Full Marriage Equality, also cheered on the New York lawsuit. It's absurd to say that an adult can't consent to marry their parent. The same adult can be sent. By the way, thank you, New York Post. That's where I get them all. I just want you to know that the people at New York Post are making money in writing these. That same adult can be sent to war, take on 6 or 7 figures of debt, operate heavy machinery, be sentenced to death by a federal court, and consent to sex with 5 strangers in marriage with one of them, but can't consent to marry someone they love, he told the Post. In some of these cases, the genetic parent didn't raise them and they met for the first time 2 years ago. Allegations of grooming are laughable attempts to deny someone their rights, even though it will have no impact on the person objecting. I don't even know why I have to ask this question, but who's the piece of shit in this story? Is it the person fighting for incest marriage, saying that? Is it an organization for saying, yes, how dare you, and compared it to other things that aren't you fucking your kid? There's probably a lot. Is it New York Post for putting the worst articles ever? There's probably a lot of things. Think of your own. But Bobby Tamburo, go first so we can get you out of the way.
It was change.org, man. They'll take down any kind of controversial survey or things like that, but they're going to let the incest one stand. This is your moral high ground. Oh, no, we don't control it. Get that shit off of there. People who want to marry their kids, I think, are more mentally ill than a piece of shit. So I'm going to go with change.org.
All right. Frank.
That's a tough one.
Like, you're old. Back in the day, incest was just regular.
Well, no. I mean, I never had somebody in my immediate family that I wanted to fuck.
Yeah.
I mean, I had nobody. I had nobody.
For everyone on this show and say no one did.
So it was a non-event for me. It was a non-event for me. If I had somebody, okay, let's look at, I had somebody hot that I wanted to have sex with, and it was in my immediate family, I might look at it differently. But since I never had anybody I wanted to fuck, I'm gonna have to say that that the organization and the guy that started all this are a piece of shit.
Well, first of all, Frank, how dare you? We weren't
What?
talking about sex. We were talking about love. You don't need to just want to fuck somebody. These people that are related, one that made the other, fell deeply in love with the other one. How dare you make it as cheap as just sex, like some weird Thanksgiving romp? This was
they were already
Romeo and
fucking.
Juliet, but creepier. How dare you?
Well, Pat, I just changed my mind. Thank you for bringing it up to me. Pat, you're the piece of shit.
Thank you. I deserve it.
Frank's just worried that if they change the laws, when Sam outlives him, his wife will remarry her dad.
Oh, no. I thought that he was going to fuck his. By the way, Sam is his 102-year-old father-in-law that lives with him. That's what's going on in Frank's house. So, Bob,
Really?
who's the piece of shit? Yeah, for real.
My grandmother just turned 102.
Oh, hook
in
him up.
January.
Let's hook him up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
let's watch
she's
him
dead
fuck
now.
with dust coming
He's
out.
dead now? He doesn't know.
Yeah.
Let's hook him up.
No, I'm kidding. No, she's still alive, but she's 102. She's
Where does she live?
not interested, Frank. Leave my nana out of this.
How do you know?
Never met Sam. Sam is a catch.
He has a huge
tell you.
cock because Frank has to bathe him.
That's right.
Because Frank has the basil.
He has
No,
to
I have to
bathe him.
bathe him.
Oh,
I
okay.
go into the shower with them
I
because
know what
Last week we had to
bathing
teach Frank, you
Yeah, that
don't
was
use
my
your mouth to
Italian
clean
slur.
somebody's penis.
Frank has the basil. It's just- He's Italian shit.
Who's the asshole in this story?
Piece of shit. How dare you?
I'm gonna say. I mean, I was gonna say the change.org people, but that's already been discussed.
You could say it again. That's fine.
I mean, he made the good points. I want to try to make something else up that's funnier. I would say in this story, I'm going to go with the guy that, the guy wants to marry his daughter. Is that the whole thing? The Australian
There was
guy?
a guy in Scotland that wants to marry his daughter, and she was in New York. They never met before until 2
Well,
years
I don't know
ago.
the exact reason why they don't allow like fathers and I was going to say fathers and sons, but I guess the same thing nowadays, why they don't let a mother and son will say marry each other if they're if they're over 18, except for the fact that obviously if they were to create a child, the child has a huge, chance of being like many comedians we know.
Yeah. Funny.
So, I mean, I understand from that and that's not something that you can even fucking argue with when it's like, no, you can, I mean, you could fuck a cousin and have a fucked up kid, but if it's a direct actual descendant, but I mean, yeah, the Australian guys, who's gonna, like you said, the funniest part of the whole story is he puts all these things on change.org, and what was the line? With very little, he gets very little support.
Right. Also,
like,
my favorite line by him: "We haven't moved any mountains yet," which is the greatest quote of all times.
Yeah, he's not even fucking
Trying
kicking
to
over
make people
anthills.
Fuck their kids.
Nobody's, who's jumping on aboard this? Hey Bob, we heard you sign that petition. You're fired from the fucking fake job you don't have. I don't know
It's over. You're done. Anthony.
But I mean, who's gonna support that guy? And if you do, I mean, Jesus, people think they get on fucking lists for, being on podcasts. They think they get on lists from the
kid and just
get on
find
lists
your
for the
dad on
government.
there.
You don't think you
And
get
you're
on
like,
some
what the fuck?
fucking special list if you sign the fucking change.org? I should be able to marry my mom fucking .org thing, whatever it's called.
Mom Marriage Matters. It's a triple M. It's nice.
There's a point there. I mean, if the son is in love with his mother who can't bear children anymore, I don't see that as a problem then. I mean, I always went with the fact that
I gotta prove that I can't have kids anymore.
Yes.
Anthony.
Yeah, I don't see a piece of shit in this story, dude. I'll be honest with you. No, to be honest with you, to me, nobody's getting hurt. If it's consensual adults, right? They're consensual. It's not like it's pedophilia, correct?
Come on.
No, being honest with you.
No,
dude,
not if they're adults, obviously.
80%. Listen to me. 80% of Orthodox religious people are primarily incestuous. It's the fact. Islamic and Orthodox. It's a fact, dude. A lot of people,
Not all facts are
Mormons.
good.
Well, no, but I'm just saying, you're saying piece of shit. A piece of shit is somebody who fucks your wife when you go to Italy.
Or
you know what I mean? Like a piece
your
of shit
daughter that this is okay.
No,
Raises
he's got a point with the Orthodox.
Fuck you.
He's got a point with the
I get what you're
Orthodox.
saying, dude. Pat, you got to calm down.
No, not when you want to fuck kids.
Pat, you got to calm down on this issue. Listen. Some of us
He's got a point with the Orthodox Jew things.
What am I doing?
You ever see a bunch
Some
of
us do have
Orthodox Jews?
sexy
They all look the
cousins,
same.
Okay?
I guess the Asians are also incestual because they all look.
I don't. No, whoa.
Yeah,
no, that's
chink.
Yeah.
I'm saying it.
That's
Anthony, I think you.
Now you're being ridiculous.
Yes.
Anthony, I think you hit a nerve with Pat.
Yeah, you're right. I don't want to fuck kids. You hit a nerve.
I mean, he's got to
Well,
deal
no,
with
that's
it.
not-
They hear
that's not-
Jewish?
But that's not the issue, Patrick.
The
Patrick,
issue is
it's not the
Australia,
issue here.
Anthony. I've talked to you about this. Everything
issue
in
is that-
Australia is terrible.
The issue is that you
Guy
don't
wants
know
to go
how hot
down
this-
under with
this
his
fucking
daughter.
daughter is. First of all, she could be a Scotland 10 or an Australian 10. You know how hot Australian chicks are?
Terrible.
Fucking money, dude.
No.
No.
If they're hot, they
Australian
were really
women?
English and they got shipped there. No.
You ever seen that video of that Australian pole vaulter where she's just like going like this? It's a meme.
Yeah.
She's
I
so
think you
fucking
guys.
hot.
I think you guys are pigeonholing Australia here. I mean, it's
Yeah, because everyone in Australia trolls me on fucking Twitter. Fuck you, Australia.
Australia. All those people have been living for the last 200 years in a beautiful sunny island, just doing the surfing and doing sit-ups and all that stuff. I mean, you come from a long line of short, potato-eating alcoholic people that you can't even like.
I'm sure I'm taller than you. What are we doing here? Why is everyone making fun of me today? I'm gonna fight everybody on this show.
I think that there's no harm done. There's no harm, honestly. As you're saying, piece of shit. Now, is it recommended? Is it?
Are you going to the wedding?
I would love to go to that wedding. I know exactly.
Tell it to his son that thinks he's being ignored from Papa.
Yeah. This
No,
father
I
marries
think
the daughter.
Anthony's
Now
got
the
a
son's
hot
like,
mom.
where am I in this line? Where am I now?
I think we're missing the boat here. I think Anthony's got a hot mom. That's where this is all stemming from.
Or a
No,
sexy
not
daughter.
at all. Not at all. But neither. I'm no prize either. So it works out.
Who's saying they're prizes? If you're a
Well,
prize,
I'm
you're not
just saying,
fucking
if
your
I'm a-
kid.
If I'm listen, my mom might be a 5, but I'm like a 6. I'm like a 4. Okay.
Now I
So
gotta
it works
fucking
out.
Google this after the show to find pictures of them. I'm gonna
I
guess
want to
they're
see how
not.
hot this bitch is.
I'm gonna guess they're not. Neither of them are hot.
Now,
Right.
Richard
I won't
Morris
necess-
is the Australian guy's name. I
I
don't know
won't
if he's the one
necessarily-
pushing it. So if you
I
want to
won't
Google
necessarily
it,
think that they're like, well, I don't know. They could be, there's backwoods Australia people. I've seen plenty of fucking Australian horror movies.
yeah, they're not
there's
giving us the
plenty of
name of the
fucking-
Scottish couple, but they're
Well,
giving
there's-
us the name of the guy. That's about it. So that
Oh, okay.
There's Outback
Well,
Australian
the guy,
people.
the Australian guy, he's got to want to fucking do it. Who
you would
becomes
think so.
who-
If he's pushing,
who
to
becomes in
change
charge
the
of that
laws
if
in
you're not
60
doing it
countries.
yourself?
Yeah.
What is he? Just a what is he? What do they call? Ah, fuck. The people
Well,
in
Pat, you
government
know
who
who-
like try to. We got to pat. We need you to pass this bill. I'm with the tobacco companies.
I know what
Lobbyists.
Bobby's
Lobbyists.
gonna do
Guys.
right now. I know what Bobby's gonna
Well,
do.
Pat,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know who doesn't
Yeah,
think
I'm
you
just
should
a-
fuck your dad?
Yeah, you know who
What do you
said
do?
that?
City
They couldn't
Hottest.
hear you, Bobby. You know who definitely is really against fucking your dad or your daughter? Silk City Hot.
Silk City Hot.
Yeah, baby. They hate it. But if you are
Hey,
gonna
what's your
fuck
dad
daughter,
do? He's a lobbyist for the Incest Corporation.
if you're gonna fuck your
that's good.
daughter,
Huh.
you're gonna use and you're gonna fuck her in the ass because you don't want to get her pregnant because you're not ready yet to have that incestual child and you don't have any lube. You can use Chad Zumach's Mango Madness as the perfect lube to fuck your daughter in the ass because she'll enjoy the sex, then go, wait, this is wrong because the rights and moralness of Silk City Hot Sauce will pour through her and then she'll marry someone
Do
else.
we have
without
any
her dad.
chips?
What?
She turns around. She's like, "Do we have any chips?" In
Yeah, do we
here?"
have anything to put this in besides my asshole? Can we have something else to mop this up with? I'd like that. So, Bobby, if you were going to have sex with a family member and you were going to have food first, what sauce would you use?
Well, I wouldn't do that, Pat. But if I
Good.
did, I would use the promo code POS, as in please, oh my God, stop, Dad. POS to save 15% and get some free cherry sriracha.
Now, are you saying, please, oh my God, stop, comma, dad? Or please, oh my God, stop, dad? Like, are you yelling it out to other people? Or are you just telling dad the sex
Pull
is so
out
good?
soon.
Pull out soon sauce. Every week, we give you a different thing, Silk City.
No, that's the code. That's how you
No,
remember
but
the code.
I want now a
POS.
sauce called Pull Out Soon sauce. It's white, it's creamy, and it's only half a bottle. It's the perfect
It almost sounds Asian. Pull out soon sauce.
horseradish. Give me that one. I want horseradish sauce with Frank's face on it.
I have a feeling these have already been these names have already been brought up on this show before.
Not these three. These are all new. These are
Oh,
all
okay.
brand new ones. Every week we bring new.
Well,
ones.
I mean, obviously not the one I said,
But you got to get Bob's sauce if you're watching the show right now and Bob's here. This is a fucking amazing sauce. This is one of my personal favorites. I'm not a
BBC,
geek guy.
Bobby Biggs Chipotle. It's a mild. I'm a real. I love hot sauce. I mean, that's how I got into doing this with the Silk City guy. He was a fan of mine from hearing me on Brennan's podcast, and I don't know if he contacted me or I contacted him, and I certainly didn't contact about making a sauce, but I told him that I loved hot sauce, and I showed him a picture of all the fucking hot sauces I have in my fucking kitchen, and yeah, I don't know why I just brought that up, but.
Because
a good
now every person that watches this show is going to send pictures of all the hot sauce they have to this guy. And he's like, how about me? I'm like Bob. Like, no, you're not. Bob's also funny. Like, you're not
Yeah,
him.
do that.
Just buy
No,
Bob's sauce.
Please, people
Be
listening to
inspired by
this,
Bob.
send pictures. Send all the pictures you want to potatoes, and so we can have all the pictures of all your hot sauces.
Here's what I want you to do.
You can even send them to me. That's fine. I don't care.
Everyone out there, if you want to get you can do two things. You can either use promo code POS to save 15% off, or send a picture of yourself.
Whoa. Save how much?
15.
Okay. Shit. I thought you said 50.
I don't know. If I could do the read, that'd be great.
Yeah. Sorry. That's the
Save
second time
75% off
that's
if
the
you use the
second time
promo
I
code
might have misheard
BBC.
something. I'm sorry.
No. 15%. They all know. Here's the thing. Either use that promo code to save 95%, no, save 15% off, or if you have some sauce already, be inspired by Frank. Just take a picture of yourself in just your boxers and put the sauce in front of your dick or vagina, whatever it is. Hold up. Here you go. Put your Aztec Attack right in front of your dick and send that picture to silkcityhotsauce.com.
No.
Send it to them to get a promo code.
Stick the spout in your butthole.
And you save 20%. But we're not
You
trying
can
to give
keep
out
the
that
lid
kind
on.
of deal
You can
right
keep
now.
the lid on if you're a pussy.
Yeah. Or keep the lid in your pussy. Whatever way you flow. That's fine. Silk City
Front
Hot
butt works good too. Yes.
Get yourself some today. My favorite's Aztec Attack. Frank's the only. Frank said, "Oh, they're all too hot for him," but he's 80. Like, there's nothing.
No,
for
I
him.
put this
you know
on
what?
some veal chops today. It was wonderful. I mean, on the
Veal
I
grill,
asked for a
so it
bottle of
is.
the Aztec because I love the green, and I haven't even tried it yet. I feel like
Oh, it's
a
delicious.
It's my favorite one of all of them.
I gotta try it.
I
I tell you, you know
actually-
what my
Good.
outside of my own, you know what my favorite is? And I'm not saying this just to get people to buy, but the free cherry sriracha that you get if you make an order. The cherry
Everybody say bye to
sriracha
Bobby. Bobby's got to
is
leave.
literally my favorite. Bye,
Say bye,
Bobby.
Bobby.
He has the ball.
Yes, he's
Oh
gone.
fuck, bail.
Good. Get the fuck out of here. The show will be better now. See ya.
Wow, you're
Coming to your house.
I love you,
I'm
Pat.
coming to your house, asshole.
You don't know where I
I've
live.
seen you, Bobby.
I'm gonna
I've seen you
drive
guys.
them. I'm gonna drive them.
Eastside Dave Show every Tuesday at 7:30 with Roy Harder. And check out How Could You Forget
Whoa,
420.
look at him
on
doing
Compound
that.
Now.
Fucking
He's
plugging
gotta
his shit
go. He's
with,
gotta
with
go.
half a
He's gotta go
fucking
clean up the tables.
plugging his shit with half a fucking with half an appearance on your show, Pat. I don't know what you put up with.
Have an
that
appearance on the
bullshit.
show. Fucking all we hear is Gino saying the N-word in the background 50 times. And now I gotta deal with that. shit.
The Gino's not even on stage. He's just having a conniption.
I was
fit in
shocked
the
he got to
bathroom.
open for Gino without wearing
That
a
was
hood.
Gino in the bathroom.
It's like-
Hey Pat, you're like 5 steps behind Gino, so I don't know what you're talking about.
I've never said the N-word, so I'm good. It's like,
No, but when we did, I'll tell you my story if you want. If you have more
let's do
stories,
it right.
let me
We're
know,
gonna
but
close on it. Let's do it right now.
Okay, so Pat was on my new show. It's called the Complete Bastard Podcast. We pretty much review British comedy from an American's point of view. So we did one episode. It's okay. You know, I mean, 30 people watched it. It's the first episode. You know, it's
Yeah, baby
whatever. I
steps.
said, and I didn't have any guests on that one. It was just me and my friend who was engineering it, and he decided he wanted to be a co-host on the show. So I'm like, this is great. I got you as a co-host. And then we'll have a guest come on, like a professional, somebody who's funny, who's just going to keep it going. I'm like, Pat's great. I love Pat. I get Pat on the show. Pat's doing fucking awesome. We're killing the show about Benny Hill. We're talking about Benny Hill. All of a sudden, about maybe half an hour, 40 minutes into the podcast, all of a sudden, Pat just pulls a fucking 180 left turn and starts talking about George Floyd. And I
Oh,
was
is
like,
that how this show
oh,
went? Oh, is that how the show went?
I said to myself, oh no, did I really bring up George Floyd in this?
Well, first of all, 15
No, but
minutes
let me
in-
explain.
Well, I hope when he brought up George Floyd, you
enjoyed
hit the
the
music.
conversation that we were having. Right. For whatever reason, we're talking about British comedy. Our conversations just go somewhere else, which happens on the podcast. But it started getting a little crazy in like a little political. So I'm like, okay, it's a political conversation. I like the conversation. I enjoy it. We're talking about how pretty much your opinions on George Floyd.
That is not how this went.
Okay, tell me how it went then.
First of all, 5 minutes into the show, your sound guy didn't know how to do sound. So we couldn't watch or listen to Benny Hill at all. We never once covered Benny Hill. I come on, he goes, can you hear that? I go, I didn't even hear the introduction song. They're like, oh, wow, really? I'm like, no, that's fine, sound guy. And then he goes, so I guess we're not going to hear any Benny Hill. So then Anthony tries to explain some monologue by Benny Hill. And right there, he just goes, I guess we can't even really do the show. So then it became, let's
Right.
be outrageous and have fun. There was nothing political. I did 9/11 things. I did abortion things. We were just being silly. There was nothing political. There was nothing of sense. It was fun. And you said I was having a good time. Then you come on my show like a piece of shit and try to turn the story around and make me look
No,
bad.
I'm not though. You gotta let me finish my
You said it was
story.
a
though.
political discussion.
I love
I
you,
care
and
about
I feel-
George Floyd. I said
Anthony's the asshole in this story.
we were talking. Thank you, Bob. We were
I
talking
win?
about the reason why George Floyd came up is because Hitler came up first, and I thought in my head it'd be funny if he did one of those Freaky Friday things where you switch
a good
Hitler and
analogy.
George Floyd and flip them to see if the same outcomes happened. That's what I thought was a
Dude,
good idea.
Just let me explain what I'm talking about here. I'm not.
You
I'm not
said we were
here-
having a good discussion about Benny Hill. We never got into it
No,
because
we
your sound
start-
guy sucks.
We were talking about
for
Benny
5
Hill,
minutes,
despite
not 45.
despite the video.
Doesn't
despite the
Frank kind of
shitty-
look like
des-
Benny Hill?
Yes, dead.
Despite the shitty production value, right? So anyway, I love the conversation we had. We have a conversation. I mean, again, I'm leaving out a lot of stuff, but it was all funny.
The parts
was
where you
all-
said fucked up shit too.
It was all good. I was also being a fucking piece of shit. We
You
were
didn't
doing it
mention that
together.
at the beginning of the story.
So listen, but this is okay. The moral of the story is that 2 weeks go by. I don't hear from my engineer for 2 weeks because I remember, if you notice, I haven't put up the second episode yet.
Right, and you kept saying more editing. I'm like, all right, they got to edit this whole
I'm
thing
texting
out.
him. No, but that's what I thought because I didn't hear from him for 2 weeks. So I keep texting him, dude. What's going on with the show? I know he had some other stuff he was doing, but I'm like, dude, can you get back to me? Can you text me? I want to know what's going on with the show. So eventually, he gets back to me like 2 weeks later, and he's like, dude, I don't think I can put this content up on the thing. I said, why? I said, now you're telling me 2 weeks ago? I've been promoting this shit for 2 weeks. He goes, I don't feel comfortable being involved with the content that we were talking about, and I get it too. I get it too. So I said, okay. So I said, you want to like edit it? I mean, he's like, there'll be like 3 minutes left if we edit this thing, like there's like nothing. So I said, okay. So why don't we just re-record it, and then we won't, we'll try to do it right this time. What happened was, because of the Zoom stuff, we have to add something to get the sound, and we need another channel to get the Zoom, to get the video and stuff. And we were all gonna edit. I was gonna edit it all in after, but he doesn't want to be a part of the show anymore. He wants to be the he wants to edit it and produce it, but he doesn't want to be on the show.
He just wants to be the editor and just put it out and not be part of on air anymore.
He just got very he's kind of like a I don't know, he just got sheepish about it, and I just thought it was funny. So the piece of shit in this story is me or you or my producer. That's what
Benny
it is.
Hill. Because if he was better at his job, I could have just talked about him, but he was not that good. He was just a fat shithead, and I would have known more. We could have just ranted, but I needed video to talk about. So no, your producer's right. You're right. I'm right. And yeah, the George Floyd stuff was bad, but not as bad as my 9/11 joke about the woman. I said there was a guy working in 9/11. He got his secretary pregnant, and then he wanted to like throw her down the stairs because his wife couldn't find out she was pregnant. So when he went to go push her, thank God a plane hit the tower and took her out. And he's like, "Woof, thanks, Osama." That was. Then I said, who was flying that plane? George Floyd. That was the bit I did. I don't understand why the producer didn't want to be part of that.
I just don't know why. But
go ahead.
Again, I just don't know why. What I mean, I'm trying to rack my brain. I can't even look at the fucking footage to see what the content was that he's offended by. But I mean, I had a good time. I loved you on the show, and I'm like, but I was waiting for 2 weeks. Like, what the fuck? Like, where's my fucking
show? You and I went off the rails, and we just tried. We were like, okay, we want this podcast to go long, and we were kind of one-upping each other, and that's all that was. And we were going at levels.
It was fun.
No, it was great, but I do understand a guy who wants to have a real life and isn't like you and I and doesn't care about that shit. He's like, I don't want to be on here. I can get canceled. Bad things can happen. Great background.
Right.
It's like, it just made me hungry out of fucking nowhere. A little hot dogs.
Kolaches.
All right, so Frank, who's the piece of shit in Anthony's story?
I think all three of you. I mean, you have to go that way. I mean, there's the only way. One.
By the way, he was laughing. Your producer was laughing a lot.
Okay,
you know
well, he's a piece of shit because he had a job to do and he didn't do it. I mean, that's why he's a piece of shit. Doesn't matter about content. I mean, he felt uncomfortable, as you said. He's laughing about it. He's a piece of shit. You two are piece of shits for bringing all this stuff up. The 9/11 story. That's amazing. You talk about like that, and he's driving the
20 years
plane.
after the fact.
Yeah, that's awful. I mean, I think the three of you, not only the three of you, I'm throwing you in, Bob, too, as a piece of shit because you're just listening to this crap. It's never going to make the air. I mean, this is the most you're going to hear about it because you got nobody to edit it. And as he said, you got 3 minutes.
Pat broke up another podcast. That's all
I do. Bob.
You got rid of Dave Landau on the Cumbia show, and you got rid of my guy.
Yeah.
Anthony has a podcast where what did you say? Like it's like extra
The
gross
British
stuff or
comedy
extra
podcast.
No, he means the other one, Creepy Corner.
Oh, the Creepy Corner show, right?
I
Yeah,
assume
that's
I assume the producer of the episode we're talking about of this other podcast is not a producer of the Creepy Corner, right?
well, that guy, the guy that we get that done in the studio, and I can't even tell. I'd say the name of the studio on the air because he's afraid that we're gonna cancel him. But he'll take our money,
Right, of
Ah.
course.
and I can recommend the studio to people off air. But he again, we're like, I thought maybe I would be a history teacher if this comedy thing didn't work out, and I'm like, oh yeah, well, yeah, let them just try to Google my name now, and you'll see that I'll never get hired by anybody at this point. So I'm pretty much in it to win it. So yeah, I like the conversation that Pat's a funny dude, and I stand by that. You're a funny
Yeah,
motherfucker, dude, and
I
we had
gotta
a good
go with
time on that show.
I gotta go with the producer guy as the asshole because I've been on podcasts where after you do it, then somebody will tell you. If somebody tells me except any other reason than the audio's fucked up, unless it's a technical issue, but somebody says,
Right.
hey, I'm not gonna excuse me, I'm not gonna post this episode, and you were a part of it and you were laughing. If I can tell that it's like awkward, because I've had people on a podcast. I remember years ago I had somebody who's quite famous actually. We did the podcast and then he sent me an email the next day saying he didn't want me to post it. And I was like, I mean, he's a comic. It wasn't the funniest episode of the podcast, but it didn't matter that he wasn't funny. Nothing really happened. He just said, yeah, I wasn't that funny. And I'm like, yeah, but I asked you questions. I go, it wasn't necessarily supposed to be. And the fact that he did it, he didn't. And there were various times through this episode where I said to the guy, do you want to stop this? Do you want to not do this? And he's like, no, man, we'll go. So then we fucking do it. And then the next day you're going to tell me you don't want me to post it. So I actually did post it, and you'll be able to probably figure out who it is within a couple minutes if you know comedy. But it's an old. I used to have a podcast called the Enjoy Guys podcast because I have a joke about how a waiter comes to your table and they set down your food and they're like, "Enjoy, guys."
Right.
You're like,
Yeah,
enjoy.
Jay
He
said.
said it wrong, and I'm like, "Enjoy, guys." Isn't he supposed to just say "Enjoy, guys"? So that's like an old joke from my act because this episode has got to be at least 10 years old. But if it's still, I pay to have it still up on the internet. So if you
But
look
he
up
didn't-
my name on any,
He didn't sue you or anything stupid like that.
I don't think he knows because the podcast obviously isn't big because no one's heard of it. But I never say his name. I call it the mystery. You got to look up the mystery episode, mystery guest. Don't put his picture up. And I actually did director's commentary. This is just a straight up audio podcast where like he says something and then I like go, now right here, I wanted to punch this guy in the face. I could tell, I'm like, I could tell he's being an asshole. Yeah. I mean, I waited a few months to do it, but I was like, I spent my time. I told him numerous times as we were doing it, like I said. So my point is, if you do something and whatever, is that me being petty or whatever? I don't know. I mean, nothing's going to happen. He didn't say anything bad.
To it. Yeah, you were putting.
It was more of a time. It was more of a time thing. I did a podcast recently with a guy that I do a podcast with, and after we got done, he said he didn't want to post the episode, and I don't even remember who the guests were, but I was just like, why are we not going to post it? And he's just like, I just don't want to. I'm like, and he never told me why he didn't want to post it, and I was just like, well,
do you pay that guy though? Like, is he paid to do the show, or is it some like because I didn't pay my guy to engineer the show for me. He did it for me.
No, this guy wasn't an engine. I mean,
my guy's a real engineer.
I can tell you the guy in this story, not the one about who I.
Well, what I'm saying is the guy that I did the podcast with is a real. He works his living as a sound guy, and he edits and he does stuff for like professional movies and films. So I get the fact that he does because they'll cancel him. They will. Right. This society, they don't give a fuck. Dude.
I get it, but he also could have said something as it
2 weeks.
Whatever.
But I told him. Well, the thing was, I said you got to let me know ahead. You got to let me know immediately because I could have been making another show by then. I could have had Pat on the day after. Like, Pat, sorry, dude. Like we got to re-record it. you know,
Well,
and
even
it
if
would
it's the
just be
first
me
time,
and
I
him.
mean, I can understand that. The guy,
Well,
the
yeah,
guy
it was our second one, but I mean, you know,
the guy
like,
that
I
did
guess,
it, the guy that did it to me was, I mean, it was my co-host of the
Oh yeah,
podcast.
just he
Right.
knows the show. He should have just let you put it up. You have a stinker sometimes. That's fine.
So yeah, this is not the same story about my Enjoy Guys podcast.
Right.
This is a more recent thing. And then he was like, but I was just like, and I was like, well, you know, if you asked me to do this, I go, yeah, I didn't have anything else to do. I go, but you know, we spent like, this was like an hour and a half, and then you're not going to post it. I'm like, at least he didn't give me a reason. He just said he didn't like it.
I don't like
Never
that.
said
I'd
it
rather
wasn't.
at least give a reason and say, hey, I don't want
Never
that out
said
to
it
my
wasn't
name.
funny. Yeah, I was like, if these guys, you know, said bad things that you don't agree with, I'm like, first off, you could edit it. But if he gave me a reason, I would have been like, but he never gave me a reason as to why
yeah,
he
that's
wasn't
weird.
going to
Yeah,
post.
that's not cool. Like, my guy, I understand. Like, I'm cool with it. You know what I mean?
I mean,
Like,
I don't
just
think
felt bad
anybody would have
because
listened to the episode and been like, they certainly wouldn't have been, this is the greatest episode ever. But it was just, you know, more of a time thing of like, well, you know, I fucking wasted an hour
Now
and a
I
half
made
doing
jokes and all
this.
that at the beginning, Anthony. But if I'm going to say who's a piece of shit in that story, and I'll explain in a second, is me.
no, not at all.
Let me explain. At the beginning of that show, you and I talked a couple days before, and you said, "Hey, can you do Tuesday, whatever?" And I wasn't looking. That was the fourth day in a row of 4 overnights I did at work, where I got home at 11. I worked from like 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. to 10 a.m. I came home. I decided not to sleep and just stay up to do your podcast. So over 24 hours, I had not slept. The second, I was like, oh, they'll guide me through Benny Hill stuff. I'll sit there, I'll make comments, then I'll pass out. When we had to flip the switch, when I'm real tired, I go even more crazy, more silly, more stupid. I know that. Even when we were done, and I never do this, I went, holy shit, that was a lot of George Floyd jokes. I said that to myself. And I was like, I go, thank God it's Anthony, because him and I can both have that fun where we kind of just go off and do whatever. But I did sit there and go, that's going to be weird for someone who listens to the first episode and gets British comedy and then gets this 2 minutes of Benny Hill and then just awful, awful shit.
But
Fun.
honestly, Pat,
I should have just slowed down and tried to push more English shit.
I would listen. You did exactly what you were supposed to do as a podcast person. You were supposed to, you know, as a guest, you were supposed to be entertaining, and it was very, very funny, dude. And me and you had a blast, and it was a really good recording. That's what the bitch of it is that I just can't release it because because that guy's my friend, and I don't want,
Yeah.
you know, I don't. He doesn't want it. He doesn't want to release
Just have
it.
him
So
cut
it's not gonna
himself
happen.
out of it. Just do the audio.
He
barely spoke.
It is. But what I'm saying is, I'll get you back on at some point. We'll do another episode, and he won't be on it, so we can still say whatever we want.
Did
I don't
George
like to
Floyd do
stifle
British
people.
comedy? Because I want to talk about that.
Do you not know who Benny Hill is?
No, I do. I said I watched it when I was younger, but it'd been like 20 years, and we were really going to break it down. So it would have been cool to have and he was talking more about his monologues and things like that, which I don't remember. I remember
Bob,
the running around, the skirt chasing, all that stuff.
For Bob and Frank, primarily what the show was going to be was me. I have a guest on. We talk about certain things. I was going to send Pat. I think did I send you video clips?
No, you were gonna, but you never sent it.
See, that's again. Maybe I'm the piece of shit. But I was gonna show the video clips on this. We were gonna show video clips on the show. We were gonna talk about just specific clips about us. About Benny Hill, not so much crazy about the history and stuff, just kind of like a reaction video, almost like a long reaction video to British comedy, and that's all it really is. And it would have been a lot of fun, but we fucked up the technical part. Thank God, Pat Oates. I swear, and I'm saying this, God honestly, thank God you're a professional on the radio where you knew how to just fucking take it and take the ball and fucking run with it, and we got a good conversation out of it, man. So I mean, it was you kind of saved it actually. And in my head, and then the guy got he got sheepish after he was trying to. I guess he looked back on it and was like, "Oh, this is gonna kill me in the business. I can't put this out." And he didn't know how to tell me. He didn't even want to tell me.
Right,
It took him 2 weeks to kind of come out and tell me.
I want to say that.
He's my friend.
Well, I have friends.
He's a good friend.
That I
you
forget
can't.
They're not.
You can't actually
us, and we
say
can
like
say
a
whatever.
real emotional thing. You're supposed to fucking like me. I don't know the guy. I'm just making fun of him, and then you're actually gonna hit me with truth that he's your friend and all this stuff. I'm
Yeah.
calling him an asshole, but I don't know him. I'm just
I don't
joking.
censor people. My friend does.
You can have friends that are assholes. That's fine.
There you go.
But it's okay. Now I remember the reason why George Floyd really did come up the first time was because we talked about. I tried to name other English people, and I named Idris Elba, and I just kept saying the things Idris Elba did, and then I just said George Floyd. He could have played George Floyd in a thing, and then that was where I just said fuck it. Every time I ended a story, George Floyd was the punchline.
Yeah.
And then, of course, that was 2 weeks ago. If it came out this week, it would have been awful.
Oh,
It would have been
Jesus.
amazing, dude. I just need the hits. I don't care about the ramifications. They can't cancel me. I run my own stuff.
No,
So
but
it's
this,
great.
I'm just saying, this week, it would have been,
Awesome.
there would have been no gray area. People, psychopaths would have loved it and thought it was the greatest thing ever. The whole Chauvin family would have been like, this is great. And like, we love this. What a wonderful time. They would have watched it for at least 9 minutes and change. You know what I mean? That's how long they would have watched it
They
for.
would have actually rioted. They would have actually rioted anyway, even if they found him. If they found him guilty. They would have rioted because of our podcast that came out.
But your buddy's not a piece of shit. I get it. He had to protect his
No,
real
I'm not
job.
saying he is. I'm just telling you
Well,
that
I'm
was
just
the
saying
piece
it
of
too.
shit
I don't
story.
like
He
the
was the
Joker
piece
to
of
say
shit.
that, but it's just, you know what the piece of shit is? George Floyd. Ladies and gentlemen,
Right.
thank you guys. Thank Bob. Thank you, Anthony. Bob, where can people hear your podcast, check you out, follow you, all that stuff?
My website's comicbob.com, just COMICBOB. I have a podcast called the Bobby Bigger Cast, which just how it sounds, BobbyBiggerCast.com. On Twitter, at Bob_Biggerstaff, all that stuff. You just Google my name, Bob Biggerstaff, you'll find it. If you speak Spanish, it's pronounced Roberto Grande Cock.
Ooh, I like that. That's another new sauce that's so shit he should do. Roberto Grande Cock, that would be a tremendous sauce. It would be great. Anthony, where can
Yes,
people
I
not
agree.
see the podcast I was on with you?
We'll go to creepycorner.nyu. You can check out the Creepy Corner show. We have an audio and video show that's always up. Every week it's a different show. For the most part, we had a hiatus this month, but we're getting back next week in the studio. creepycorner.nyc, at the Creep Fest on Twitter, and at the Zen Comic on Twitter. And if you want to watch my one episode, it's a complete bastard podcast. A complete bastard podcast. It's all over Spotify, iTunes, anywhere you can get a podcast. And I'm soon to be on YouTube. But yeah, that's pretty much me.
He won't let you put it on your Patreon?
I'm not going to put it up.
All right. No, makes sense. I just thought maybe you put it behind a wall and then people that watch this now go, oh fuck, I'll go find that.
I'll tell you what. If people really want to hear it, I will try to get it from him to put it on my Patreon. But you got to join the Patreon if that's the case.
You
And
hear
I'll make
that,
it
Rebecca? Hey, Rebecca, you hear that? This is Rebecca's wet dream, this podcast, by the way. She was very happy with all the people that were on.
Right.
So there you go, Rebecca. Frank, what do you got?
Thursday, April 29th, Pat and I will be at Comics of Mohegan Sun.
Yes, we will.
Oh, nice.
We're there all the time. It's what we
We're
do.
there
Frank
a
always
couple of
almost
times a
dies
month.
on stage. It's nice.
Oh, I'll go to that.
Nice.
I love gambling.
Yeah, you want to gamble? See how long Frank stays on stage without dying. It's a good gamble. Go up there and die with that. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being on. If anyone watching, please go to the Patreon. Pat owns a Patreon. Bobby Tamburo would tell you to go watch Eastside Dave. I know he said before with Roy Harder. Check that out. I know he put out another thing with Luby. Just look for Bobby all over Compound Media. He's a fucking darling right out there. Go there. It's a show that even though Bobby's on there, some of us weren't allowed to be on there because we don't say the N-word enough. And I understand. Tip my hat to Anthony right there. Thank you guys so much for being on it. And Frank, do you know how to do Bobby's closing line?
No.
You're on the show every week. You have no idea? All right.
Don't be a piece of shit.
There you go. You did it. Thank you.
All right.